Welcome to this episode of Absolute Dogs TV. In this episode, we are going to be talking about our top tips for dogs who jump up. How you can take a dog from kind of jumping up manic craziness to a dog that makes the right choice, not because they've been forced, but because it's been inspired.
Now, let's take a dog like Jazza here. Jazza, I have to be honest here and tell you that jumping up was possibly one of her biggest struggles and one of her owner's biggest pain points. It made it difficult to walk her, it made it difficult to go out and about in public. When you have a dog that jumps up at people, you're embarrassed. You want your dog to just go out there and be amazing, and yet you feel like you might have to put them back on lead. It takes away freedom from your dog, and it really can put a pretty sour taste on a very nice walk.
Now, before we dive into the tips, make sure you have subscribed to the YouTube channel. There's a new installment each and every week, and it's really targeted to your struggles. So if you've got a struggle, let us know in the comments below this video, and you know what? You might feature in a future episode. Now, the first tip we've got for you, this one really relates to being able to have visitors or guests come to your house, and it is, don't give your dog direct access to the front door.
Now, when we say that, some people will say, but my house is open plan, but my house is going to always give access to the front door. Here's the thing, you can and you get to decide that, and you get to lay that out as you need to, whether that means gated communities, a puppy pen, some sort of boundary, some sort of doorway, some sort of other room, whatever option you might decide to go down on whatever route you decide to explore, there is a way. You just need to see the value in it. Now, our dogs never ever have front door access unless we really feel it's necessary.
Absolutely, and the reason why this is such a valuable tip, and it might be one that you've never heard before, is because as guests come through the door, or even as you come through the door, right, it's a pinch point. It's an area of close space. There's a lot of energy and things happening. There's a lot of excitement, and so it doesn't leave your dog with much choice other than to jump up.
It's an area of change. It's an area where things happen. Yeah. Just like Tom said, it's a pinch point, and those pinch point areas are not areas we want to allow our dogs lots of access to, knowing that it gives very few choices, one of the main ones being jumping up.
So while you're skilling your dog up, and you know what, we'll teach you how to skill your dog up on this with our other tips that we've got for you, it's really important that we don't give them direct access to that door, whether you're working on jumping up at guests or you're working on jumping up at you. Now, the second tip that we've got for you is the reason why your dog jumps up is because they think all the value is up here. All the value is in interacting up here on you. What we need to teach them is that there's value on the floor. The value is down there, and that means that you keep 4 feet on the floor.
Now, 4 feet on the floor is just something that we like to think of as a way of life. Actually reinforcing, I think similarly, Tom, with your Illy and counter surfing. She didn't even realise there was a counter. Some dogs don't even realise there's an option to jump up because actually it's never been something you've allowed them to rehearse. So 4 on the floor is a way of life.
Now, we've got a special game that we like to play that teaches dogs not to jump up. Using their daily food allowance, it teaches them where the value is. It actually inspires them to not jump up rather than forcing them to not jump up. Now, that video lesson is on our YouTube channel, so you can find the link out below this video, but basically it's probably a sign that you should explore the YouTube channel because there's so much on there, but this video is specifically on jumping up, and it's a great game to play right now. Now, the third tip that we've got for you is management. And what we mean by that is that there are going to be times when our dogs are so skilled up and they've played the games and they know where the value is that we can give them 100% of the responsibility. We can say, you go out into that, I don't know, that room full of guests and you're not going to jump up.
And another example for me would be you go off lead on this moorland, let's walk together, let's hang out together, and I know you are not going to go jumping up on no picnickers, no people out there having a little ramble, no ponies. You're not going to go jumping, not that type of ramble. And the thing is, they are literally going to go out and they're going to do you proud rather than you go, come back, they're jumping in someone else's picnic.
They're ready for the responsibility.
They're ready for the world.
Yeah. But what we've got to realise is that happens when we've played the games, we've skilled them up and they're ready to go. Right now, and I imagine if you're watching this video, we maybe fall into this group right now.
And don't be embarrassed, don't be afraid, don't be shy.
Some of our dogs, right now, we're not giving them responsibility in certain places because they're not skilled up enough yet. They're young, they're inexperienced, and we're growing them. The key is that when they're not ready, we take some of the responsibility. We employ management. Now, a great management strategy for having guests over and your dog not jumping up is to actually have your dog on lead. First of all, let's not have them in the room when the guests arrive. They have no access to the front door. And then if we're bringing them into that environment, let's bring them in on lead so that they can still make great choices and we can reward that.
Let's empower them to make great decisions. Things like the boundary games that we're working on both here and here. Things like sort of choices that we enhance and we reward. These are other management strategies. So initially potentially on lead and later on maybe on a target or a place or a boundary. The thing is, you get to do this and you get to do it in your dog's way and your way. So we'll come up with a bespoke way for you to do it using whatever really works most for your dogs. But like Tom said, management of a lead, a gate, a doorway, a boundary, a crate, another space, lots of different ways that you can do it. And management is not a bad thing. Lots of people see it as a real negative. It is not a negative. It's a way forward and it's allowing you to keep rehearsing what you do want instead of rehearsing what you don't want.
Final tip, as Lauren alluded to, is boundary games. What's happening right now? Our dogs are on their boundaries. This could be a bed, it could be a platform, it could be a tree stump.
Practicing calmness. They're both practicing real life ready. And whether you've got someone knocking at your door or whether you've got someone arriving, hello, nice to see you. It's good to see you over there. Good evening. You know what? This is what we're looking at. And this is what our picture is. And that's because they have had their boundary games trained. Boundary games is another way of life for them. And actually, it looks like, I would say, quite a relaxing one, wouldn't you, Tom?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with this. And the thing is, it's based on a really important principle, and that is that as dog owners, we can always think of 20 different things we don't want our dogs to do. But sometimes the most important question is, what do we want them to do instead? And 9 times out of 10, when it comes to household manners, them being on a boundary, calm and relaxed, is exactly what we want them to do. So it's really worth investing in. Now, if you want to find out more about boundary games, well, head to absolute-dogs.com. There's a digital download there that you can get involved in. But the key is to think about, where do you want your dog to be? How can we put value there? Well, that's their daily food allowance. Let's drip feed in that area and dogs will gravitate towards where the value is. Right now, they think the value's up here. What we want them to learn is that the value's down there or on there, and we do that through the video that we linked out to in our YouTube channel, and we do that through boundary games.
Now, the thing with boundary games, guys, is you really can't have enough of them. You really can't overdo them. You really are never done, and yet this really is our everyday life. This really is our living room. This really is the way that we live with our dogs. And so for us, if there's going to be anything that's too exciting, if there's going to be anything that's too difficult, if there's going to be anything that's going to test them, the boundary becomes our safe place. The boundary becomes our safety net. It's our zone of security, and actually it makes a huge difference. So I would absolutely thoroughly recommend that you all have a go at those boundary games.
So with that, guys, that was this episode of Absolute Dogs TV. If you have not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure to do so. Check out those things that we linked out to, and we'll see you in the next episode. Remember, game changers, whatever the dog owning struggle, there's a game for that.
If you haven't already, remember to subscribe to our channel.
And check out our new 25-day online dog training challenge. Watch the videos, play the games, transform your dog owning struggles.
As a loyal YouTube subscriber, you can get a 70% discount through the link in the description below.
And if you haven't already, subscribe to the #1 most transformational dog training podcast on iTunes and Spotify, the Sexier Than a Squirrel podcast.
And remember to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more live teaching, video content and free training using the links in the description.